A new poll reveals what people think about the NFL's course of action after the latest domestic violence issue involving one of its players. Minnesota Vikings star Adrian Peterson now barred from all team activities pending the legal outcome of his felony child abuse case. This after former Ravens running back Ray Rice's indefinite suspension after he was charged with felony aggravated assault for punching his then fiancee in the elevator of an Atlantic City casino. So let's break down this Emerson College poll numbers with Professor Spencer Kimball, a scholar in residence at the School of Communications, and also with us is Rand Al-Ghassabi-Becker, an Emerson student. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much.
So a lot of people are talking about this. Let's start with Ray Rice. A majority of those polled are following the issue. And you asked if people thought that he should play again. What did you find?
We found that 18% of people think that Ray Rice should actually be playing this week. And this is in comparison to Peterson, Adrian Peterson, who they think 36% think that he should be playing this week. Now, the majority think that he shouldn't be playing until maybe next year, but it's still interesting to find that such a large number think that they should be back on the field so quickly.
Now, that's interesting. You say that 18% think that Rice should be playing again this week, as early as this week, and you're calling that a big number. Not the majority, but still a big enough slice of the pie here?
Yeah, it's 1 out of 5 people. So, you know, when you think about it and having seen the video, you'd be surprised to think that many people, you know, either have a disconnect with the issue, or maybe, as we were talking about, there's a lot of fantasy league owners that were participating in the survey.
Interesting. So they're just thinking in terms of their own fantasy league experience compared to the actual ramifications of the case. And then the numbers go up, actually, when you're looking at length of time. 21% think that he should play again this year, Ray Rice, and then 33% next year. What do you make of those numbers?
I think those are people that have kind of, 77% of people are following this issue, and I think that's more responsible thought amongst the population.
When it comes to Adrian Peterson, 62% of the people that you talk to are following that issue. What did you discover about whether people think that he should play again?
It really came down to where they lived. Those in the South and the Midwest think that he should be on the field a little bit faster. Those up here in the Northeast and out on the West Coast think that he should be taking a little bit more time. But nearly 1 out of 3 people think that he should be playing this week.
All right. These two players, it's complicated enough, but when you look at NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell himself, what are people thinking here? What did the two of you find?
What we found was that 45% of people disapproved of his actions, yet out of the people that disapproved, or overall, only about 24% were calling for his resignation. So people were disappointed with his policy on abuse, disappointed with how he's handled it, but yet the majority of people don't want to see him fired.
Now, Rand, you get to actually dig into some numbers here, and you've got actual evidence as to how people are feeling. But what are people talking about just among your peers, and when it comes to the student perspective on the action that the NFL is taking? Do they think it's appropriate?
Well, we don't think it's appropriate in general of how the action was being taken, but I think it's come to the point where we've been able to separate what the social media says and actually look at them as professionals. And I think that distinction is quite important when dealing with celebrities, as we kind of idolize them nowadays.
That's interesting that conversation among people in real life compared to social media can vary. 47% in your survey, Rand, said that they don't think the domestic abuse policy goes far enough. 20% saying it goes too far. Have you discussed those numbers and that disparity at all?
We've discussed them to the extent that, again, like I was saying, that there has to be the separation between the professional aspect of how we look at them and the social media aspect. And I think it just brings on the deeper issue of domestic violence and abuse in general. And it's kind of a taboo subject back home as well in Saudi Arabia. And I think we need to dig in more into that rather than the specific case of Ray Rice.
And this certainly put it at the forefront in a different level. Professor, what's the takeaway here? If Roger Goodell were to look at this poll, what do you think he should make of it? How would he read it?
That the NFL is still a very healthy organization. It's the most popular sport in the country. 46% of people ranked it as the #1 sport. #2 is very distant with baseball in the 20% range. and that 82% of respondents have watched some part of an NFL game this year, which will probably keep their advertisers very happy.
All right, we'll have to see what happens moving forward as the legal cases proceed as well. Thank you both so much for explaining this poll and breaking down the numbers for us.
Thank you again for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ak, to you now.
All right, thank you.